Welcome back to another episode of Dogging It. I am Molina Mike, and I'm out here at the Derby City. We got Mike Panozzo of Bears Digest, and we got none other Allison Fisher. Allison, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I tell you, first of all, I apologize because I heard the last time you were trying to get on here. Rumor has it you were having audio issues. Truth was because I wasn't going to be on, you didn't want to come on. That's what I heard.
Well, that was it. I know you're the main guy in this show, and I just thought, well, if you're not there, it's not really worth doing
Really?
it. for it.
Really? Okay.
I
Well,
appreciate it, Allison.
I just want
Good
everybody to know
Mike.
we tried to get Bean Chow on today, but she was busy, so we got Allison instead.
I'm not surprised. She's probably still glowing in that victory.
Yeah, well, obviously, Allison, we want to talk to you about that World Championship and other things going on in your life.
Hold on a second. I've just realised. Just give me 2 seconds that my plug isn't working. Hold on.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't want to lose you guys again. That's it.
We've got enough of that.
I think that's on. Okay.
Okay. You see the little
I can see a
electricity
little
button?
something up there. The eyes aren't so good.
So, obviously we want to talk to you about a lot of things going on. First of all, congratulations on the runner-up at the World Championship. Just amazing achievement. You played last year more than you had in previous years and did quite well. But I don't think any fields last year were anything like this field at the World Championship. It was stacked.
Yeah, it was a really great tournament, and it was tough because it was a winner break scenario, and with all these great shot makers now, anything can happen. And in my very first match, I was 4-0 down against Sakurai from Korea, I think. No, Japan, silly me.
Japan,
Sakurai from Japan. And I'm sitting there in my seat thinking, wow, what am I going to do if she just keeps playing like this? But I ended up scraping through 7-6. So that was a nice. And I think what I did differently this tournament was I was finishing better. I have a lot of close matches before, and it would just, and I'd fail. And I actually prepared for this tournament. I felt like mentally ready. And, if you get the rolls, we all know that 9 balls about a few lucky rolls here and there. There's no doubt about that when anyone wins one of those tournaments. And I don't know, it just all came together. And I had a really tough night the day before I played Christina in the semis. I played Wang Canlin, I think her name is, from Taiwan.
Yeah.
Wang Wangling. And it went back and forth all the way. I only got ahead at the end. Anyway, she bobbled the 8 ball, and I ended up winning 7-6. I think, because that wasn't a race to 9. Was that a race to 9? It was 9-8.
I think the single elimination was all
It
race.
It was a 3-hour match, which I didn't even realise because you get so engrossed in it.
Yeah, sure.
That's probably the longest I've played in a long time. And I came straight off that match, went and had a quick break, and played Cheska straight back to back. So I started out like firing on all cylinders against Cheska. I think I prefer to play a faster player, to be honest with you. I think that gets me in a flow. Plus, there was no shot clock in the tournament, and unless you're in a TV
table
arena.
Right.
So that's hard when you're playing some players who are sort of slow, medium pace. It can get a little. You start second guessing things, or you can't get into a flow. So yeah, I was really happy with the way I was sort of finishing those close matches.
What was your preparation leading up to the World Championship, Allison? Because this is like the revival from Predator, bringing it back, and all the events they've been putting on. But what was your preparation like through the holidays?
Let's talk about prior to it. I haven't really been playing. Through COVID, I didn't play. I sort of considered myself retired.
Right.
So I didn't really pick up my cue. And then I sort of did an exhibition here, and then I sort of played that tournament in South Carolina at the end of the year before. And I thought, still got a little bit of something there. And then I decided to play the tour last year, and I had some nice finishes. A couple of them I should have won. So I was a little disappointed that I wasn't finishing. I got to a couple of finals and a couple of semis.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm not, getting over the winning line. So that was a bit disappointing. But I knew my standard by the end of the year was up. even though I'd done the Moscone Cup commentary and I went to the next tournament without having to hit a ball, but mentally.
By the way, we love the commentary. You do a great job.
Oh, thank you. It's a bit nerve wracking, but I really enjoy putting myself sort of on the edge there. And Mike, I talked to you the night before, and I said sometimes I say, yeah, I'll do something, and then I'm like, oh my god, that's been the story of my life, really, doing it like that.
More nervous.
Pardon?
You think it's more? You get more nervous doing the commentary than you do playing?
Well, I think not the commentary. I don't mind the commentary because I like to talk, but it's the whole front camera work for Sky live on Sky. And when you're in that arena, you can't hear a thing that your co-presenter is saying to you. You're lip reading, and you're hoping you're answering the question. So it's a little off-putting. It's nice. It's tough. It's tough, but it was phenomenal. The atmosphere, I wouldn't have been anywhere else. It was really cool.
But you didn't hit a ball then at all.
I didn't hit a ball, but I just felt good. I tell you what I did the day before. I just changed a couple of things in my technique. So I thought I'm going to stick with this through this tournament and see if this works. And I did that. And then I felt really great in that tournament. And I thought I'm just going to do the same thing for the Worlds, but I practiced more. I practiced on my stroke and getting through the ball. And that was it, really. Just, some hours every day on my own. My friend Jim lives around the corner, an older guy, was racking the balls. We're practicing my break a bit, so I changed a few things there. And it was sort of fine-tuning things and getting things up to a bit of a better standard. And the fact that I just played boosted my confidence a lot. I sort of felt comfortable again.
Yeah.
Well, were you hoping like maybe get to single elimination, or did you have your eye on the prize from the beginning?
No, I felt like I could go all the way. I felt like. Yeah. I mean, it's a fairy tale. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not in the 20s or 30s, and my desire is not that of a 20 or 30-year-old.
Right.
But in my mind, I felt like I'm playing good pool again. So when I feel like I'm playing good pool again and I'm confident, then I think I'm hard to stop. So that's it, really. I just think technically I'm quite good. So that stands you
I'd agree.
in good stead when you're in the heat of the battle, doesn't it? I mean, if you're feeling good and you're confident, then I'm going to be hard to beat, I think.
Well, we messaged a little bit before at the start of this year, and you said in a message to me, I'm playing this year with expectations, not just with hope.
Yeah, I think last year.
That's a mind frame that makes a big difference in getting through those matches, isn't it?
Definitely. I've obviously held a lot of tournament championships in the past, but it was, it's a while ago, and I haven't been playing, and I felt retired, and I've got a bit more of a balanced life now. I'm not all about pool. And so my mindset changed a lot, and then I was like, well, should I be playing? Should I not? And it was funny at the Moscone, I was talking to Carl Boys, never listened to Carl.
Yeah, no, please.
And I said, I'm not really preparing, I'm not really. And he said, well, maybe you should just not bother playing then, And I'm like, and then I started to think, yeah, you're right. If you're not really preparing, you're just going there and you're hoping for something, but you're not really believing in it.
Right.
So I actually prepared for the World Championships, and I believed, and I did say that to you. I said, I'm not really going in with hope. I'm going in with more expectation, because I think I should. I think that's the way I should play.
Did last year, your decision to play more last year and then do well, did that kind of all of a sudden rekindle that spark? And that's when you thought, maybe if I really put the effort into this, I can get back there.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to put the effort in all the time. I'm going to try my best to keep playing, to keep rolling with it. And there's lots of tournaments coming up, so that's great, because that keeps you inspired to do well. But pool is, I feel like it's a really good time for pool at the moment, for juniors, for men, for women. The whole scenario is really good time, I think. And not only that, coming back onto the tour, there's some great people on it too. Really nice players, a nice crowd to hang out with. across the age groups, it's really quite a pleasure to be involved in, I think. And, it's just gone to a different level. I've told you in the past, and you've known a lot of us for many years, we are more like a family. You do tend to be a lot like that. And it's really, it's sort of a pleasure to be a part of it. I actually enjoy it.
So just all of this has just kind of come together to make you more excited about.
I think so. I think I've got a bit of mojo back. A little bit of mojo's
coming back. Allison, with mojo is a dangerous thing.
And then what was so wonderful at this last event, and you can go crashing out like this, but my mum, my brother and his partner were there. So I had my family there. And my brother hasn't seen me. Hi, Dave, if you're watching. My brother hasn't seen me playing. Gosh, we were trying to figure it out. I don't know whether it's 12 or 20 years. I'm not even sure, but it's a long time, because when I go home, I spend quality family time. I don't really want them at a tournament, because I don't feel like I'm in a particular routine at a tournament. So I can't really engage as much. But at this tournament I did, and we had some really nice family time, and I roomed with my mum, and it was nice. I felt very settled, and I felt like I was doing things the way I wanted to do them. I wasn't, we had some nice couple of dinners before it, but then when I got into the groove of planning the event, and I did my own little routine.
It didn't put you off your game that she was coming in?
I do have a funny story.
Let's hear it.
So I'm playing, so my mum, in the past, sometimes she gets carried away in a casino and goes and has a little and doesn't really get engaged in the pool so much, So I said to her once, I said, you really need to come and watch me. It's not fair that you come to these events and you're off gambling on a machine and I'm there playing in the arena and you have no clue what's going on. So I did the guilt trip. So she comes in, she's watching every match, sweating it now. So I played Wang Wang Lin, and, we ended up at a heel game, 3-hour match. And then I went off outside the arena to have a banana and, prepare for my next match. I only had like 5-minute break to play Cheska. Well, they somehow thought that I've probably gone for an interview or something, and they hadn't seen me come back. Well, I came back in a different door, and I went and played Cheska straight away. And I got on a roll. I got quite far ahead, right by the mid part of the match, and all of a sudden my family aren't there, and I'm like, where have they gone? Have they gone to dinner or something? Are they waiting for me to come back to the room thinking I don't have another match tonight, or they're gone, right? Then I see my mum's little scooter entering the arena, and she goes to the desk and asks where I'm playing, and they point over to where I'm playing and the table right by her. She comes in to the table, and I'm middle of the match, and she goes, Ali, have you seen David? And I went, no, and carried on, in my game. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And then my brother shows up when I'm about 8, whatever it was, up 8-7 or something. He shows up, and I'm like, finally, they're here. They've been watching Kelly, not knowing I'm playing over there on that table. But it was so funny. She's asking me in the middle of the game, have you seen David? I don't really care.
Yeah, that would have been. Yeah. I was going to ask you if it bothered you and upset your routine at all that she was coming back into the room at all hours of the night from the casino. And
well, used to. I'm not bothered anymore. But she was on best behaviour here. She came and watched every game.
That's
and great. I must have put them through it because a lot of my games were close. But you know what? I never gave up. I was like, I fought all the way. It was really, and I was so excited every match. It was like a little dream, a little fairy tale. Every match that I was winning. Getting through those tough rounds was really awesome.
You mentioned family and you mentioned having a balance, Allison. What's that balance like for you these days outside of pool?
Oh, I have 2 children at home, and I love that. So that's really important to me. That I have it. It's important that I have family time. My son's about to become a teenager next month, and Lily, our daughter's going to be 13 at the end of the year. And so I love hanging out with the kids, going on vacations with them, and just spending time. And they're at that age, the conversations are good, and that it's been wonderful the whole time. I'm so happy to be a parent. So that's important that I have my family time. That's because you know, I've had a lot of time in the limelight. It's time to, you know, spend it wisely, the time.
Right.
I'm lucky I'm in good health. So my health-wise, I'm good. I invest in property. I have some Airbnbs. So it's just other things going on. And I teach this coming weekend. I'm teaching in Charlotte. So I've got 14 students coming in for a pool school. And I'm doing that with Mark Wilson. So I'm dragging him out of Derby City. And
I went. I had
don't tell Pat.
I did a thing with Mark and John Schmidt out in at Round Rock, and Mark is a fantastic teacher.
I love Mark.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I wish we could clone you, Mark, because we need more Marks in pool. You know, Mark Wilson is a great guy. And he's done a lot.
Yeah, you can't.
Did your kids give you any encouragement, or were they sweating? Were they watching online, or what was that like? Now that they're of age to be able to watch it and get engaged.
Yeah, Pearson was. I haven't talked to him. I haven't spoken to him yet since the final when I was sitting in the chair. But I used to promise him a Lego set or a prize if I won a tournament. Those have been fewer pickings, obviously, in the last few years. So I'm waiting for that time to come back.
It's okay. He's outgrown Legos, so
yeah. But I've got a nice medal.
There you go.
How proud are you, Allison, of what you achieved? Like, you
really
made it to a final. There was a lot of fans I saw following your social media posts that I was making. They were just super excited for you, rooting you on. What was that like? Seeing all those messages and kind words from everyone.
It was absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited to be there and to be playing well again. I think it's one thing being there and competing, but when you're feeling good and you're playing well, and then the people in the arena and around you, and your friends who play too on tour, sending you good vibes and all that, and then the online support, all the messages, it was really incredible and uplifting, and it couldn't have been better. I'll never forget it, put it that way, because I don't know how many world championships I'll have left to play in, but every tournament to me is really, but that one's obviously special, the world championships, but they're all great.
Do you ever think about that though? Like, does that ever, this may be my life? Like, did that thought ever cross your mind?
I actually did before the final. I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to get this chance again. Who knows? You don't know what the future holds.
It's so difficult everything's got to come together.
It really does. It has to come together. And, like playing Christina, for example, she started off like a little train. And we went 2 games, we're clearing 2 games apiece. I was always trailing, till later in the match. And then sort of mid-match, it kind of took over for me. And I got, when I broke, I got nice layouts, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day, when it gets to that standard.
Yeah. When you beat Christina and you were, you had a couple hours before the final, what was going through your mind, and how different or similar was it to other times you had reached a final of a tournament? Were you more nervous, less nervous? Were you trying to... You're trying
to control the feelings. I tell you what, though, the night before I didn't sleep. I barely slept a wink. I couldn't control my heartbeat, my head, everything. But I think that's normal. I think that's adrenaline. I didn't get much rest, but then I thought, well, this is what it's all about, though. This is why we do it. It's the thrill of competing. It's the emotions that it puts you through. There's nothing else like it. Yeah. And it's always been like that. I mean, I can go out. Sometimes I can go into a match and be completely calm, and just, I'm fine. I feel good. Other times your heart's going, and it takes a couple of games to get into it. And then, sometimes you just never settle. You're trying to, but it's not, you're not always settled. So it's just different. You can't really predict what's going to happen. You're just trying to control things like your breath and your thoughts and things like that.
I find that so fascinating. You've had so much success and so many accomplishments in your career, and even after all that, to continue to still feel the heat, and feel the nerves and the pressure. I watched a lot of it. I was on a flight that last day. It looked like you were just in control, especially during that semi.
I had moments. Wait, I think if you can get a break and run out and, get a little flow, get your rhythm of your cueing, and you feel good. Like I did feel good in that match. So, you know, it just started off a little funny, but then she made mistakes and I sort of punished the mistakes. And if you're doing your job, it's easier to get settled. It's when you're missing silly balls and not doing your job, it's hard to get settled.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think I played a really consistent tournament. My mindset was good. I was really happy with the overall performance, the way I felt, you know, just I loved every minute of it.
So going forward, what's, you know, do you have certain events earmarked? Are you going to try to play in everything? What's your approach going to be going forward?
I'm going to play all of the WPBA US tour, and then I'm going to probably pick and choose some of the Predator tour stops. I won't do more than that though, and I'll do some teaching in between because I won't have that many weekends in the year to, you know, with the family and stuff. I won't have any other dates to play with, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I'll be pick. See, Croatia, for example, is a Predator event in June. I'll probably do that and take the kids and the family and my family from England. It's easy for them to meet me there.
Yeah, beautiful.
So I might do that one just because of that.
What about the world team, Allison? You're gonna give it another go?
I can't represent the team unless I'm ranked high enough. I can't play for America. Apparently, there's a 2-year wait if I try to do that, according to the WPA. Yeah, we won't get into that one. I wanted to, but couldn't. And then England will have Kelly. If Kelly's ranked number 1 at the end of the year, she would take the England spot. If she's not, I would. So, my goal would be to beat Kelly.
There you go.
Isn't that always the goal, though?
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. The goal is to win a tournament, right? That's the goal. The goal is to really. What makes me happy is a good performance. That's what makes me happy. If I can play to my ability and the level that I know I can play at, which I know now I've still got, then that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. And usually if I'm playing to a really high level, anything can happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything did happen. You were in a final world championship. It was amazing.
I'm 55 next month, so at that age to do that is like phenomenal. And I don't see that well either, by the way. I'm sitting in my seat and the balls are all blurry. So if I could get LASIK surgery, I would, and then they'd really be in trouble.
That's true. That's true.
What are your thoughts on all these Asian players coming back? And you mentioned the youth, and there's so many strong players, Cheska and Christina. Some of the names that you took down along the way. The sport's going. When it comes to these young players and social media, I see you active. There's just so much going on. What are your thoughts on the overall, Allison?
And they're representing themselves extremely well. That's what I like. The social media and the sportsmanship and the representation of the game of the players now is really nice to see. So I like that. I think there's a great future worldwide in the sport. And you know how it is. It's like a lot of these players. I'm sitting there in my first match thinking, well, if I lose this match, I'm still in. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? I've encouraged a lot of these players to play. Some of them weren't born when I was around, but their parents know me.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it's inspiring and whatever being here, and I'm enjoying it. And I don't think my family are enjoying the first part, but the last part they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a really, like I said earlier, I think it's a great time in pool. It's nice to see there's a junior league, and we have a lot of junior presence in our WPBA and in the Predator events. Right. As you said, there's a lot of great Asian players coming back over. And there's so many good shot makers now. It's going to come down to all the other crafty little bits in the game, safeties and all the other aspects of the game, I think.
Do you feel like your fundamentals kind of carry you through in those moments of pressure, Allison? That it can sustain you through those winds of emotions, you feel?
Definitely. Without a doubt. That's the foundation of the game is the best thing you can do for yourself, is to create a really good foundation.
And when you first got here, that was a big difference between you and a lot of the American players. Was your fundamentals were so good, and they were so kind of, self-taught type of thing. And it seems like it's changed a lot now that the the younger players, whether it's European, Asian, even American, are learning the game properly as they come up and have better mechanics and better fundamentals. Are you seeing that more now?
I think they've learned from results, because I always look back at my snooker career as like an apprenticeship for my pool career in a way. I wasn't well rewarded in my snooker career, and I was much more rewarded over in America and worldwide. And I think they've seen the value of having a sound foundation, over years of watching a lot of the, Karen Core, Kelly, myself. I always think when I look back at the American players, I always had lots of great matches early on with Laurie John. And it's because she had quite good fundamentals. She was one of the Americans that had like good habits at the table.
Right.
And I think that carried her through to high rankings, So, it's been a great ride. And I think absolutely the European players tend to be more trained, as do the Asian players. It's America that needs a lot more work, I think, the American players all round on those things. So I don't know where that's going to come from, but certainly we've got some great juniors, getting their heads in the game and doing it right. Yeah. And all the coaches.
Did you have a coach when you were starting off, Alice? Or even now? Did you have a coach?
I had a coach. I was discovered in a little kids club when I was about 13. So I learned a lot from watching the game, watching players. And then I was discovered and got a decent cue, because I had the one with a little screw-on tip, which I was very proud of at the time. And then I realised what a real cue was like. And then, so I did that, and I sort of got a lot of tips with pro players then. And then Frank Callan, who was one of the best coaches in the world, snooker coach, who coached a lot of the top pros, he sat with my mum and dad and offered to coach me. He didn't want to charge me anything. He said to my mum and dad, "I'd like to coach your daughter because I think she's got a lot of potential." And that was when I put that hesitation in my stroke, when I started to pause at the back of the stroke. I worked on that for 3 months before my first World Championships win at 17 years old. And I worked really hard at that.
You won at 17?
And that was it. Yeah, I won the World Ladies Snooker Championship at 17. But I felt like, having worked on those fundamentals, I felt like I couldn't miss a ball. I just felt like it was helped me so much.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's right for pool. When I teach, I don't say you have to do this, you have to do that.
Right.
I give a player a few different ways of doing things and find out what feels right to them. So I'm not like, you have to do it like this. I'll show them different ways, and then they can do what they want that, feels good.
Would being part of coaching American youth players be something you would be interested in?
I think in the future, but again, it's a time thing for me.
Right.
I mean, you could do things like this virtually easier, but for me, it's the time, because I want to still win. If I was
while you're still playing,
of course. At the end of playing and not really playing, then I'm in a different, mindset then. But while I'm playing, I think I want to try and keep winning.
Yeah, I kind of meant like after, when you do call it quits.
Yeah, but that could happen in about 20 years, Mike.
It could.
Well, you're in the final. You're right. It absolutely did.
You never know, but I might need some new eyeballs. I don't know by then.
They just make the balls bigger.
Have those thoughts of retirement like kind of gone out the wayside now that you've been in the final? Does it like remotivate you, Allison?
Absolutely. I mean, I played last year, and I was like, I think I ended up second in the WPBA and number whatever in the world. I didn't even realize I'd gone up to 5. And I'm like, well, if I'm there now and then I start putting in some effort, who knows?
Yeah.
So it's about putting in the effort at the end of the day. You can't expect great results if you're not really working at it. So if I put some good work in this year, I think I can be nice and consistent, and you never know.
I think it's great to think that you're inspired and motivated to put the work in again, because clearly there's nothing left for you to prove in the pool world. So this just all has to be self-satisfaction.
Yeah, I think at one point I was just going in tournaments and being a bit of a number, and I don't like that. It's disappointing. I was disappointing myself. It's not about other people. It's about the ability that I've been given, and not really working at it, and not doing it justice.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think it's been about, well, look, you've got this ability. You either, you know, the expression. I'm not going to say it, but you're either going to do it or you're not going to do
something,
it, right?
or get out of the loo.
Oh, yeah, you're a competitor, you know, and you got expectations.
I am, and I don't want to sit there and be a number. It's not me. You know, I don't want to go along just because it's a fun thing to do. I want to make a mark.
Yeah.
Well, I say,
like you said, there's so,
you know, because I was with James Hanshu, and we were sweating a little bit right before I came up to the Derby, and he was rooting for you and messaging me, "How's Allison doing?" And you know, we're talking about it. And, it was a lot of fun from a fan's perspective of just enjoying seeing you play and still competing and beating all these young guns that are just not just like young players in the sense of age, but these are like young, you know, Christina.
Oh yeah,
amazing. Cheska is a monster player, you know. Like,
Cheska she's a phenomenal player, really phenomenal. And I was really impressed.
By the time you blink, she's already ran out.
Yeah, and she acts like she doesn't care. Right. I'm sure she cares a lot, but she plays like she doesn't care. And it's amazing the shots that she was coming with. And not just, I remember a long straight in one down the rail, right? And I thought, if I'm really jacked up, I could, you know, I'd have to draw it back. I don't know, it was a foot or 2 feet. And I thought, well, it's a tough shot, so I'm going to hand it back. And I knew she obviously put me there because she liked the shot.
Yeah.
And sure enough, she jacked. She didn't draw it back. She like stopped it. But nevertheless, a great shot. She just like bang. And I thought, well, she's in I knew she was going to get in a tricky spot unless she drew it back, which she didn't come all the way back. So she did get in a tricky spot and then missed an easy ball. But so it was a bit of a play. But the shots she misses are erratic, but the touch and the sensitivity that she has for the game is really lovely to watch. I like players who are really creative, because we can all stand there and shoot a shot in and, you know, we're like robots or whatever. But I like the creativity and that sense of feeling and touch. And there's not everyone has that. So that was really nice to watch.
Yeah, she's a great player. I've commented before. I can't believe that she hasn't won more than she has in an international stage,
isn't it? It's erratic.
Yeah, very rare. She's won, a fair number of tournaments in Asia, but outside of Asia, really not much. And it's just because I remember seeing her maybe 6 years ago playing in the U.S. Open with the men.
But she's around the best men in the world, Mike. She's around Efren and
I know, and that's why I'm surprised that she hasn't won more.
It's like, you know, that talent pool there. I was with those players every day. God, I'd be like in heaven.
We know the events are 10-ball, Allison, and you're just coming off of a final of a World 9-ball. What are your thoughts? Would you prefer if they transition to 9-ball for the women? How do you like where those Predator WPBA events are right now as far as it being 10-ball?
I like 10-ball because the break, you know, on our tour, not everyone's a good, and I'm certainly not a good breaker. I need to work on that. But 9-ball is a bit of a, with the rules that we played, it was a little too easy. The table broke softly.
It really did.
The 3-point rule was taken out there. I have no idea why, because it was a WPA event. So there was no 3-point rule, soft break, and winner breaks. So the whole scenario was a little tricky. And if you're going to do all that, make not really nice long races. If you're going to, you know, so at least a player can get into it. Obviously, I needed like a race to 55 or something in that match.
In the final. Well, she's a sensation.
You were coming.
What I will say is that Predator and Kamui did supply a comfortable seat. It was quite a comfortable chair.
How was that final?
I don't want a comfortable chair. I'd rather have a nasty little chair that I don't want to sit in.
Yeah.
Keep
Did you have
at the table
before the final, Allison?
Pardon?
Did you have any experience playing her before the final?
Oh yeah, she's beaten me before. She's a tough player. I've played her in the Amway Cup a couple of times. I think she's beaten me. She's a really solid. It's weird because you can sit in your seat and watch her, and you think a queuing looks funny, doesn't it? Because it's sort of raised up.
She jumps up on shots,
and sometimes she lets her, this arm go or something. It's really, like technically, it's interesting to watch. But she decelerated on that one shot, and then I played an incorrect shot down the rail, right, in the first game. And that was the only shot that she really queued badly, right? And it was just, she did her job. She did what we trained to do. We trained to break and try and run out. Yeah. And she did it well. Her shot selections were good. She barely missed a ball. And that is the dream match that we all want to play, isn't it? It's a dream match. It's like you're practicing. You break the balls, everything's landed perfectly. Yeah. And then she had to do her job, which was to run the balls out, and she did it, and she did it really well, and she's good at that. But it inspires me to play her again. I want the revenge. Yeah. So.
Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on. It was a great event to watch, and
thank you.
From a quality standpoint, from your play, it was just top shelf. Predator did an amazing job as well, keeping everybody, the scoring, the TV tables. I mean, you name it. But it's great seeing you back competing. Because we all, I've watched you for many years, Allison. And final, it was very, like you mentioned, fairy tale like.
Oh, thank you. How old are you, Mike?
Oh, we're not going to talk about that. But
I was going to say. I mean, I don't know. Did you know my era of playing?
I'm 36, so when I was in my early 20s, I mean, you were just dominating. You were all over ESPN, and
that gives me an idea then.
I tell this story. And I think it was to. It was you and Kelly playing in, I don't know if it was a China Open or maybe it was an Amway Cup, but I know it was in Asia. And I'm watching online, and you guys are maybe in the final 8 or final 4, and it was right. I think it was at Hill, and I forgot who it was. Maybe it was you, maybe it was her, but you couldn't see where you guys were queuing, and it's at Hill, and I think you called a foul on yourself, and she didn't see it, and you gave her the ball, and she's. We can't hear anything on the audio, because it was just video.
I know where it was. It was the Philippines.
Oh, was it?
You called
World 10 ball World 10 ball semi-final, I think, or quarter. Yeah, semi-final, I think.
It was deep in a major event. Yeah. And that's when. I mean, I was always a fan, but it's a new level of respect for you as a competitor, as a person, as an ambassador for the game. Because the remarkable part was that she didn't even see it. And
the referee didn't. Nobody did. I felt it. I hit the ball, and I was watching the cue ball, I think, and the ball that I was hitting at, the 3 ball, because I was watching that ball. I think it touched my tip. I felt it hit my tip. That's what happened. So nobody was really watching that ball, but I think I stayed down on the shot, and it came back and hit my tip. I think that's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody saw it.
But I Hill and that big of an event.
If I'd have known nobody saw it.
Yeah, if only I'd known that. No, you can't live with yourself if you. Yeah, no.
It's
just a reflection of who you are, Allison. And
thank you.
You're a great ambassador for the game. Huge fan for you since I can remember, and I started watching professional pool. So I really appreciate you coming on. Congratulations on a great event, Mike. You got anything else?
No, it was fun talking to you about it, and it was certainly fun watching. I kept sending you messages in between.
I know
she got 9 million messages.
Call me an old girl and all that, not bad for an old lady, and I'm like, thanks, Mike. No, we have a good
I love people who are kind of in my age bracket. We got to stick together.
No, it's good. I don't mind it at all. I know. Yeah, but
it was a lot of fun to watch.
We have a good little banter going on, and I luckily, fortunately for me, got to spend a bit of time with Mike in Las Vegas. We went out for dinner, and that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had a great time.
Herbs and Rye?
We did go to Herb. Yeah, we went to Herbs and Rye.
What did you order?
Absolutely fantastic. Phenomenal.
What did you get?
You introduced me to very nice cocktails, didn't you, Mike?
We had some nice cocktails and ordered, I think, the one of the flatbreads and a couple little things and the donuts afterwards.
Yeah.
And it was great because we just, we didn't really talk about pool much. But when we got up to leave, it had been about 3.5 hours. It was just went by like that. It was just
like my match with Wang Wenling.
Yes, exactly. And they had comfy chairs at Herbs and Rye as well.
Yes, we did. It was much more enjoyable.
And the food is amazing, man.
It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I can't wait to go back to Vegas next month, Mike.
For the
Predator.
Yeah, I'll be there.
You'll be there.
I'll be there.
Let's go.
Mike will be there. Well, okay, we got a date.
Let's go.
I'm there.
We got a date.
Yeah.
Allison, we appreciate you again. Good luck on a great year. And yeah, we'll see you in Vegas.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Look forward to
See you soon, guys.